Hello, my name is AJ Goldsby. I just briefly wanted to do a video. I just completed a video on this game, but I wanted to do another video and basically, going to cover what happens when, white checks with 23 knight e6. We touched on that just very briefly in the video, but I didn't go into any detail there. And I decided what I would do is just briefly run through the analysis here. And I'll post this on my webpage, the full analysis. But we're just going to try to run through this rather quickly because it is an interesting possibility. In the actual game there occurred rook takes g7, queen takes b2 check, bishop c2, knight d7. And now here white had the very interesting possibility of playing the knight on f4 to e6 check. He didn't do that. In the actual game white played queen c3. But let's just explore in this video the knight e6 check. Okay, black's pretty much got to take there. If you don't take, you get smoked. If you need to see the proof, king e7, queen g5 check, king takes f7, rook takes f7 check, king takes f7, queen h5 check, king e7, rook g7 check. It's mate there. The king has no escape squares, and if you stick the queen back on f7, then queen takes f7 will lead to check, or is checkmate. So basically black's forced at this point to give up the queen. Queen takes g7, knight takes g7, rhf8, queen h4 check, rook f6, king c3, a4, knight h5, hitting this rook here, rook e8, queen g5, h6, queen h4, king f7, a3, b6, and now just knight takes f6, knight takes f6, queen takes h6. And I'm going to stop my analysis there because that's just an easily won position for white. He's got a queen for a rook and knight, plus he has 2 extra pawns, so I don't think there's really any point in analyzing that one out. I mean, if you want to fire up your own engine and look at that possibility from this position, feel free, but I'm sure any good engine, I've already checked it with several engines, any good engine is going to show you it's just a pretty easy one for white. So anyway, going back to e6, knight e6 check, as I said, after the knight e6 check, black is forced to take. F takes e6, and now rook g8 check is the best move. Looks like black has to play rook takes g8. Knight f8 is an interesting move, and I analyze that just very quickly. We'll briefly run through that main line. Knight f8 check, king e8, queen h5 check, king d8, queen h4 check, king c8, queen e7. That's a decisive penetration there, and the threat is just rook takes knight, rook takes, and basically now the best move is kind of surprising. I checked this with several different engines to be sure it's correct, but black's basically just got to run to save his king. If he doesn't, he gets smashed. So he goes there, king b8, but now white wins a lot of material. Queen takes f8 check, king a7, queen takes a8 check, king b6. Now this is not as a dull position as you might think and say, okay, well, hey, white's up a ton of material, it's an easy win for white. But it's really not, because the queen is totally shut out and black has serious chances for a perpetual check here. Just constantly checking the white king, and if the white king can't run away from the checks, then it would be a draw by basically what we call perpetual check. It's actually would fall under the threefold repetition, but that's the general idea, is that black could draw by continuing to just harass the white king, and if the white king can't find a safe haven for the safe square, then it's going to be a draw. But anyway, queen d8, that's a good move. Queen d4 check, 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 check. Now he goes here. Now here white has the interesting move that I didn't see that the computer found, which was kind of nice. It's queen h4 exclam, queen takes e2 check, then you have that check there, check. That's a counter check. The check is answered by check. Because the black king is also in check, black's got is forced to exchange queens, otherwise he just drops his queen if he moves his king. So queen takes f2 check, king takes f2, e takes f5, e takes f5, bishop d7, f6, bishop e6, rook g7, bishop takes c4, now f7, and black's got to give up his bishop for the pawn there. This white king can run over and stop any passer here, and white's got more pawns. Probably the easiest line for white is run his king up to here to stop black from running his pawn in, snatch this pawn, put the king back on f7 and run the h pawn in. I looked at several different lines with the computer, but that's just a brief summary there. But going back to this position after rook g8, as I said, rook takes g8 is completely forced. Rook takes g8, king e7, queen g5 check, queen f6, queen takes, knight takes, rook takes 8. It's basically just now an exchange up. Knight b6, rook a7, e takes f5, king c3, a4, king d4, knight c8, rook a5, knight e7, king e3, h6, e takes f5. It's a win for white. white's up the exchange, and he's got a, he can even win a couple of pawns here if he wants to. Looks like the A pawn's going to fall because it's attacked twice and defended only once. So overall, I would say that's a relatively simple win for white. He's up in a whole exchange, and with good technique, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So anyway, let's just briefly run through the main analysis there. 96 check, takes, check. And basically, because in this line, white's going to be winning here because he's up in exchange. Covered a few of the sidelines too. Didn't want to cover all the lines. As I said, I wanted to keep this video pretty short. Keep it under, several minutes. I didn't want to go really long with this. And that basically concludes the video. Like I said, this is sort of an ancillary video, like a tack-on video to the Savchenko-Ivanov game. And basically, in this video, all we're exploring is what happens if white plays 23 knight e6 check. It is a forced win, and the computer confirms that. Thank you for watching my video, and have a great day.